Nelson Mandela quotes that it's best to know when you're young so you don't regret later. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. A good head and good heart are always a formidable combination. But when you add to that a literate tongue or pen, then you have something very special. It always seems impossible until it's done. I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lays defeat and death. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter, I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom come responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended. Lead from the back, and let others believe they are in front. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. I am not a saint, unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. As I have said, the first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. Great peacemakers are all people of integrity, of honesty, but humility. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity, it is an act of justice. Like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. Sometimes it falls on a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. A leader, is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind. It is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. I am the captain of my soul. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Where you stand depends on where you sit. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. One of the things I learned when I was negotiating was that until I changed myself, I could not change others. Appearances matter, and remember to smile. After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's inspiring others to move beyond it. During my lifetime I have dedicated myself to this struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Live life as though nobody is watching, and express yourself as though everyone is listening. You will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution. One cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I had no epiphany, no singular revelation, no moment of truth, but a steady accumulation of 1,000 slights, 1,000 indignities and 1,000 unremembered moments produced in me an anger, a rebelliousness, a desire to fight the system that imprisoned my people. There was no particular day on which I said, henceforth I will devote myself to the liberation of my people. Instead, I simply found myself doing so, and could not do otherwise. Nothing is black or white. In my country we go to prison first and then become president. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them, the chains on all of my people were the chains on me. We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Know your enemy, and learn about his favorite sport. It is not where you start but how high you aim that matters for success. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. I am not an optimist, but a great believer of hope. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that generation. Without language, one cannot talk to people and understand them, one cannot share their hopes and aspirations, grasp their history, appreciate their poetry, or savor their songs. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water and salt for all. Let each know that for each the body, the mind and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. Your playing small does not serve the world. Who are you not to be great? Quitting is leading to. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. I am the master of my fate and the captain of my destiny. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. There is a universal respect and even admiration for those who are humble and simple by nature, and who have absolute confidence in all human beings irrespective of their social status. We must use time creatively, and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. Tread softly. Breathe peacefully. Laugh hysterically. The brave man is not the one who has no fears, he is the one who triumphs over his fears. When the water starts boiling, it is foolish to turn off the heat. I have never cared very much for personal prizes. A person does not become a freedom fighter in the hope of winning awards. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in any society, a life free from violence and fear. It is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger. Then people will appreciate your leadership. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. I dream of an Africa which is in peace with itself. Once a person is determined to help themselves, there is nothing that can stop them. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. Peace is the greatest weapon for development that any person can have. It is music and dancing that make me at peace with the world. I never lose. I either win or learn. I could not imagine that the future I was walking toward could compare in any way to the past that I was leaving behind. No single person can liberate a country. You can only liberate a country if you act as a collective. Lead from the front, but don't leave your base behind. I love playing and chatting with children, feeding and putting them to bed with a little story, and being away from the family has troubled me throughout my life. I like relaxing at the house, reading quietly, taking in the sweet smell that comes from the pots, sitting around a table with the family and taking out my wife and children. When you can no longer enjoy these simple pleasures, something valuable is taken away from your life and you feel it in your daily work. I learned that to humiliate another person is to make him suffer an unnecessarily cruel fate. Even as a boy, I defeated my opponents without dishonoring them. I always knew that deep down in every human heart, there is mercy and generosity. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. I knew as well as I knew anything that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred, he is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Success in politics demands that you must take your people into confidence about your views and state them very clearly, very politely, very calmly, but nevertheless, state them openly. I always knew that deep down in every human heart, there is mercy and generosity. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than the opposite. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. Only free men can negotiate, prisoners can't enter in contracts. There are few misfortunes in this world that you cannot turn into a personal triumph if you have the iron will and the necessary skill. Courageous people do not fear forgiving, for the sake of peace. In another conversation I said, "Tell me the truth. When you were leaving prison after 27 years and walking down that road to freedom, didn't you hate them all over again?" And he said, "Absolutely I did, because they'd imprisoned me for so long. I was abused. I didn't get to see my children grow up. I lost my marriage and the best years of my life. I was angry. And I was afraid, because I had not been free in so long. But as I got closer to the car that would take me away, I realized that when I went through that gate, if I still hated them, they would still have me. I wanted to be free. And so I let it go. Money won't create success, the fredom to make it will. I shall stick to our vow, never, never under any circumstances, to say anything unbecoming of the other. The trouble, of course, is that most successful men are prone to some form of vanity. There comes a stage in their lives when they consider it permissible to be egotistic and to brag to the public at large about their unique achievements. Thanks for watching the Quotes About channel. Leave your favorite quote in the comments.